Welcome back to Requiem Radio. I am really excited to have our first guest for season 4 on, and with me today we have David and Nick. Both of them are from Black Monk Rosaries. Really glad, as I mentioned earlier, from our first pilot episode of season 4, these guys are going to be sponsoring and helping out the channel. Definitely come check out their stuff. You can find them on social media, you can find them on their website, and we could get into that more later on the show, but I'm really looking forward to this, talking about this. We're going to be primarily discussing the Holy Rosary, so this is going to be more of a Catholic episode. But definitely don't tune out because you could learn a lot of stuff from it, even if you're non-Catholic. We will also be discussing the history behind it, why it is important, and how it's impacted us personally in our own day-to-day lives. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce David and Nick. David, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. It's Father's Day.
Yep, happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Father of 6, so I'm doing my part. That's all I can tell you.
God bless you for that, too, and it's good to hear you have that many kids. And we have Nick here as well. Nick, how you doing, bud?
Pretty good today, man. It's been a good day. Gone to mass, went to the gym, and I'm here now, so I'm happy.
That's always the best, definitely. So, really quick question. Can you guys give yourself a brief intro for the audience, people who've never heard of you? Because you are a pretty fast-growing account in Catholic circles, especially online. But it's always good to extend an olive branch to others. So, if I could pose you guys a questions like, who are Black Monk Rosaries? Who are you guys?
Yeah, Black Monk Rosaries it's a family business. It's Catholic owned and operated. We've been in business for 6 years, and we hire there's other people now that work for us. The company is based all on Catholic tradition and morals. Matter of fact, our company's never open on Sunday. We're never open on holy days of obligation. Matter of fact, we even shut down and we take everybody on Fridays to go eat fish. We just follow these rules. With us, it makes the business go better. We're unapologetic Catholics. We don't cower from studying the truth. We don't cower from preaching the gospel. And the products that we make is all about quality. We make quality rosaries. They're all made here in the United States. We do source some of our products from France and Italy, but they're all manufactured. We're outside of Dallas, about 16 miles. We used to be in Dallas. We moved out. We're in a city called Saxby now. And that's really it in a nutshell. The beauty of our product is we put a lifetime warranty on our rosaries. We don't care how it got damaged. And if you want it restrung, you can. We use 550 military grade paracord made here in the States. We even had a gentleman, he returned a rosary. He dropped his rosary in acid, and we gave him a brand new one. We don't care how it got damaged. So we'll give you a brand new one if you want it restrung. We do custom work. Sometimes they ask a little bit too crazy stuff, and we won't do it. But primarily, our customer base are Catholics. That's what we sell to. But you'd be surprised. We have a number of Protestant churches now that are buying them. And
really?
It might be the sign of the times. We have a big church out in California that buys them, and their deacons and their elders, they wear them. And it's just, things are going crazy in this world, and I think people are trying to find something to grab onto.
Definitely, and that's very beautifully put. And another follow-up question to, as I stated earlier, for the audience, can you describe what is a rosary? Because we do have a handful of non-Catholic viewers who tune in to this show, and this is a very unfamiliar thing. Would either of you be happy enough to explain to it what it is?
Yeah. The rosary really is the gospel in bead form. It is. And I've heard this one phrase once. It's the rosary for the blind, and or the Bible for the blind. And a lot of us are blind because of sin. So what it does is it's a set of beads. There's you have mysteries. You have joyful, sorrowful, and glorious. And the beads are set up where you start out with the Apostles' Creed, then you do an Our Father, 3 Hail Marys, then you say the first mystery. Let's say it's the joyful, which would be the Annunciation. You pray an Our Father, and then you say 10 Hail Marys. And while you're praying the Hail Marys, you meditate on the Annunciation. So it's not vain repetition. A lot of people will say, well, this is vain repetition. No, it's not, because you're meditating. And then you go on to the next mystery, and there's other prayers in between too, like a Fatima prayer. And you do it, and you do on certain days. Monday you do the joyful, and then Tuesday you do sorrowful, and then Wednesday you do the glorious. And it just progresses that way. And what you're doing is you're following Christ's life through the Blessed Virgin. That simple, and you can do it anywhere. It's always advantageous to read the Bible, but a lot of times you can't. And in today's world, it allows you to get away from the hectic hubbub of what's going on. You can pray a rosary, and I'm just approximately 15 minutes, and you've done it. You can also pray. A lot of churches, they'll have a rosary before Mass or after Mass, especially if someone has passed away. They'll have a rosary there for prayers for the soul of the dearly departed. But if you see it, it has 5 decades of 10 beads, and it has beads in between them, which are the Our Father. But that's it, really, in a nutshell. I call it, keep it simple, stupid, praying, and make it for the educated, for the uneducated. It's just a beautiful way to go through Christ's life.
No, definitely, and that's really beautiful. And a question too, if I could pry a little bit deeper here. So, as we know, blessed be to our holy church, there's many things that help people in their spiritual walk, whether it be prayer books, Catholic literature, liturgical supplies, anything of that notion. And I'm curious for your guys, what was really alluring to the rosary that drew you to that, where you said, we're going to have this and we're going to make rosaries. We're not going to make, artwork for like paintings of saints. We're not going to do this and this. We're at first and at foremost making rosaries.
It happened because I almost died.
Hey.
Yeah, in 2013, I became extremely ill. I was a manufacturer's representative. We were based near Dallas. I was Oklahoma seeing some clients, came back, and I got very, very sick. My oldest daughter rushed me to the hospital. Long story short, I was at the brink of dying, and they brought me back. They had me packed in ice, then in ICU for I don't know how many days, I forget. And you're laying there, and your life is drifting. They're keeping you alive just as they can. I prayed Mass to the Blessed Virgin if she would pray to our Lord to save me, because I have a lot of stuff to do. And I said I'd pray a rosary every day if you would save me. And lo and behold, I was saved. And then how Black Monk came about is I kept getting rosaries and they kept breaking all the time. And you get them and they break. They're made with these little metal findings. And I found that there was some college students in Sweden who were making them of all places, and I ordered one, and I just loved it. And I had no intention of making it a business at the time, but and I tried to buy from another company here in the United States. I wanted to resell them; they wouldn't sell me. So I gave the rosary to my oldest daughter, who's very artsy, and I said, "Figure this out." Not only did she figure it out, but she took it to the next level. And I said, "Well, why don't we love these so much? Why don't we get them to other people's hands? So let's do it the right way." And the first ones we came up with weren't the greatest. I mean, it's a trial and error, and it keeps progressing and progressing and progressing. And a lot of our designs came from our customers. They call us up and they talk to us and say, "Can you make this or can you make that?" But it came literally from a almost near death experience. And I was reaching out, and when you're about ready to die, the things that you think are important are not important. Your car, your money, your clothes, all that doesn't matter. And she answered me, and I'll never forget it. And we've been blessed ever since. And we just try to we pray to her, ask her for her intercession. And the Black Monk actually came because the first crucifix we used was a Benedictine crucifix, and they're the Black Monks. And that's how the name came about.
Yep, I was gonna ask that one. You took it right out of my sales. Nice. That is a really cool name, Black Monk. Definitely, I love it, and that's a beautiful story. And God bless you that you're still here with us. And it's in a funny way a bit of a personal story for me. But when I was in the military, I was in a pretty dark place, struggling with some really bad things, and I was pretty straight from God. And I remember one night after us getting back from the field, I was drinking myself blackout, and there was a portion where I had a bunch of prescription medications, and I said, like, God, if you're, out there real, then, you'll do something to save me. So I just opened down the hatch, and then I went to sleep. I woke up the next day. I still don't know how, but I was completely flipped from the opposite side of bed to like me laying down, and I was like face first in a pile of my own vomit. And that was a wake up call for me to be like, hey, this is something to take serious. But it was definitely a long journey back for me to come back to the church. And every day I'm blessed for that. And I was going to say, I'm glad people like you exist, because definitely that was the biggest problem in the military for rosaries, where you'd have two situations. You'd have either the military issued ones, which are like these very stringy, like plasticky ones that like snapped no matter what you did, or you could go to like the chaplain, and chaplain have these like really heavy, bulky ones that felt like I'm carrying around like a Nokia phone in my pocket, which is like, where's a good in between.
Right, right. Yeah, it is. Experiences like that change your life, and you can go one way or the other. And the church is there to give you the crutch to make it through this life. And that's the beauty of Catholicism. It has you have the sacramentals. Oh, it has the sacramentals and everything for you to use. I always tell people too. Said you have the Rosary, you have confession, you have the Eucharist, you have everything at your fingertips. Just use it.
No, definitely. Hey, if really quick, I'm gonna ask a question over to Nick. But in the meantime, while I'm doing that, David, would it be okay? Your mic's coming in just a little bit muffled. See if you could like
Okay.
work around that really quick. But
Okay.
Nick, I wanted to ask you, for Black Monk Rosaries, what is one of your personal favorite designs that you enjoy the most, or one that either be a saint or somebody you look up to that you really were happy with, like a product that came out very well?
Well, I think my favorite rosary design is the original Black Monk. That's the one I use every night. And I actually, as David was mentioning earlier, the our designs they've improved over time. So the first one we didn't have our Father beads originally. We had knots for them. So it's a nice evolution compared to what we have now. And my patron saint is Saint Joseph. So one that I like a lot would be the Sanctus Josephus, which is a single decade with one of our medals from France. It has Sancta Joseph Ora Pro Nobis on it, and with that one means a lot to me. Um, I that's probably the original Black Monk and the Sanctus Josephus. And then with the single decade, because when we first started this, I didn't know what the purpose of the single decade was. And I went ahead and researched it. It was so the Irish could hide their rosaries easier when the British had taken over in a very anti-Catholic Cromwellian time. So I mean, if that's not powerful, if that's not devotion from the Irish, I do not know what is.
Definitely. And for people, we mentioned this word a couple times, decades, and either you could take this question. But my first question for you would be, what are decades for the rosary? And the second one is, why do we have 5 decades for the rosary? Why not 6? Why not 7? Why not 4? Why specifically 5? If either of you guys want to take that really quick, David, if you're back fixing your mic, or Nick, either or.
Well, it's because the Blessed Virgin gave the mysteries to Saint Dominic, and they came in 5s. I think that's above my pay grade on that one, and why they came in on the 5. You know, that's the heavenly choir there doing that. But I know that they in the 16th century, a pope had actually standardized everything and got it all written down for everybody. Because prior to that, when St. Dominic was using it, they really didn't write anything down. And he had used the rosary against the Albigensian heresy, is what he had used to go. And the Albigensians believed in 2 gods, a good God and a bad God.
Yeah, they're
And the
basically
rosary,
Gnostics.
yeah, yeah. And they overthrew that. Now, a lot of times too on rosaries, we sell 15-decade rosaries, and that's what a lot of the religious have on their habit. But we have a lot of lay people that buy them from us too. We have a lot of sisters and priests that come to us and ask us to make their rosaries, which is really an honor. It is really cool. They'll send us their crucifixes and their centerpieces, and then we make it for them. But the
Yeah, I
most
was going to ask you that question next too. I'm curious your guys' thoughts on this, but who were some notable customers that you enjoyed working with and helping out? You mentioned nuns, correct?
yes, hmm yeah, we
Is
did those.
there? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Nick, you talk about the ones in. We did those ones that were outside of New Orleans and Metairie.
Yeah, no, they're from Louisiana in Metairie, but at the time we made those, they were west of Fort Worth for some reason. I don't know, something was going on with their convent. But I remember they sent us these really special black inlay crucifixes. One of them was gold and one had silver. And on that we did 15 decades, all wood beads, and included in them was our Rue de Box Center from France, which has the original miraculous medal on it. And even our production people were like, I don't want to give this to the nuns, I want to keep this is really really nice. That was one customer I really really remember quite well. That was what, maybe a year or two ago, David?
Yeah, yeah, it was about a year or two ago. We also get people that they want a 20 decade. We'll definitely make it for them because they want to do the luminous on the rosaries, luminous mysteries, which were suggested by St. John Paul II. He suggested those, so we will make those for people. Um, Nick, tell them about tell them a little about the Rutabaga miraculous medal, uh, that, and then also tell them about the Requiem, the skull rosaries. We made some rosaries with skulls on them,
Oh,
and
really?
they're, yes, and they're memento moris. Remember, you're immortal. You're going to die. And I'll let Nick talk about those.
So with Memento Mori rosaries, those ones are pretty interesting. We have some that are made out of brass, and there's the skull. Funny story with that. One of our good customers, who's a dentist, when he got upset at us because we originally sold skulls without the jawbone and everything, and he explained to us, no, the jaw is not part of the skull. So we've had to get those made again, especially for him. But so we have the Memento Mori with regular black beads and stainless art bother beads, but then there's also the Memento Mori Bones Rosary, where we have these beads and we didn't know what to do with them. But when you put them together, it kind of looks like a spinal cord. So it that's a part of body. Memento Mori, you are going to die, that is a part of you. With the bone skull ones, they're made out of deer antler, and deer antlers fall off, so no animals were harmed or anything. And there are two variations. We have one where it's entirely a skull, and then there's another one where it's half of a face and half skull. It's that old phrase, what you are now I once was, and what I am you will be. We have that. And then back to the Rue de Bac. It is the original miraculous medal given to us from Our Lady in France. And it made by the company that makes them for the shrine in France. It was last year I was reading a book on Napoleon, and it mentioned Rue du Bac, and I know it's a street and everything in Paris, but when I saw that, I was like, David, it's real, it's real. It brought that extra confirmation to me. It brought history into it for me, which was very very cool. The
Yeah,
Rue
another
du
thing
Bac.
too.
It's the Go ahead, David.
Yeah. Yeah, the skulls and our parts, the metal skulls are all made by a company out in California, Catholic-run company. We try to use almost all exclusively Catholic-run companies for our vendors. Not all of them are that way, but most of them are. And we were kind of hesitant in doing it, but we have a lot of priests that buy these Memento Mori rosaries. It's unbelievable. And then the Rue de Bac miraculous metal, we bring those in sterling silver from France, and the
Hmm.
people just can't get it. And they're done in French, and it's really pretty cool to
And
deal with. Dealing with the French, sometimes you feel like you're going to bang your head against the wall. They don't listen to what we ask sometimes.
we do include translation cards with all of our medals in Latin and French, because we're Americans. We can't read anything but English.
Well, they love it because in the Latin it helps people because we have a very diverse customer base. We have people that go to the Latin Mass, we have people in the Novus Ordo, and it just kind of makes crosses streams with people. And you get like Oro pro nobis, pray for us, and it just oh boy, that's neat. It becomes a conversation piece. And one thing we do is we have our number on our website, phone number everywhere, so they can call us and talk to us. We're not like one of these companies like you call AT&T and you can't get a hold of them, you can't talk to them. We actually like to talk to you. If there's a problem, you have a question, call us up.
That's beautiful to hear, and that's something, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people are lacking nowadays, and it's good to see you standing against the tide, standing against the wave of these people, just bring you to a corporate ladder, if you will, being like, okay, call this number, then call this number, go to this department, just to get an issue resolved. And not only that, but it shows that you guys actually have a dedication beyond just profit, but for people's spiritual well-being, which I find beautiful. But going into spiritual well-being, I know you said that you were sick and then you were on your deathbed and you made a vow. You said, I'm going to pray the rosary every day. For you personally, what have you noticed with praying the rosary every day? Has there been people around you who commented you're in a better mood? Has there been anything that you noticed was a significant change in your life? And would you recommend other Catholics to do it?
Yeah, it's a common experience, really. I say my rosary right before I go to bed is when I say it, and I sleep extremely well. Prior to that, and in life you have a lot of worry, and when I pray the rosary, the worries go away. It dovetails with everything else. Um, it dovetails with going to mass. It dovetails with going to confession. It dovetails with living your life. That's the big thing. Is actions speak louder than words. I don't care how you slice it, how you dice it. People see you pray the rosary. They see you with the rosary. People ask you questions, and it opens up a dialogue with people. And even Protestants will ask you, well, what is that? That's superstition. And then you can talk to them, and you just talk to them like you talk to a friend. I'm not going to sit there and pull Bible verses to you. I'm just going to explain this is what it is. And I have a very good friend that's a Baptist deacon. He's been friends since he was 14 years old. And I can tell he wants to be Catholic, but he just, he asks all kinds of questions. And you never know. Maybe at the last moment in his life, maybe he'll come on home to Rome. But yeah, it's
Pray
actually
for them
the
all.
word.
Yeah. I remember I did a post recently praying for our Protestant brethren to come back to the Church of Rome, and they didn't like that, but that's a bit of a different topic. But a question I was curious for your guys. So we mentioned earlier at the beginning, you're talking about there's the joyful, the sorrowful, the glorious, and the luminous mysteries. For the certain days you pray the rosary. Would you happen to know, or could you explain to someone who's unfamiliar why it's, you know, we have different ones to pray? Like, what is that for?
You want to take that, Nick, or me?
You got it, David.
Well, the first joyful is with Christ's early life. Is the Annunciation, where Gabriel tells the Blessed Virgin that she's going to conceive him. It goes through all the way through, be even found in the temple. It's the early life. The second set of the sorrowful, which is the Passion of Christ. The agony in the garden, and then the crucifixion. The glorious is the resurrection, and you go through it all the way to Mary, crowned Queen of Heaven, and then the luminous were added by John Paul II, which has the Eucharist and other aspects of his life that he felt were very important to incorporate into the Rosary. And we get people ask us too. They're like, "Well, should I pray the luminous?" I said, "Well, if that's what you need to do, then do it. Don't worry about it. Don't get all hung up on dotting the I and crossing the T on this." And so you're really following Christ's life. And Mary's there, like on the luminous, you have the wedding of Canaan, where she asked, they ran out of wine, and she said, hey, son, can you get more wine? It just dovetails, and with the Blessed Virgin, he's there in every aspect. They're standing with Christ. That's it in a nutshell. And the thing is, people, you can go online and just type in the rosary, and everything will pop up for you. And there's certain rosaries that you can find online that you can do a little prayer with each one. It'll explain everything for you. And that's how I recommend doing it, and print it out, and then you can start reading some of the prayers if you don't know them. Like you start off with the Apostles' Creed, and, and you can learn a lot. It's very, 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 very simple.
Definitely. And something that's also helpful for anyone who are my viewers from Twitter, we do routinely have rosary praying spaces. So you can always find those in Catholic circles, always hop in there and listen and learn. That's the best way to go about it. But a question I have for both of you, if either of you want to take it, but I do get asked this a lot, and I think it's a lot from a misconception, but sometimes from my like Protestant friends. For example, there's a Southern Baptist friend of mine who was listening into my rosary space, and he messaged me and said, "Sola, do you know any good accounts? You know, where or places I could buy rosaries?" So I've gave you guys a shout out for that. Definitely telling them go to there. But he was hesitant and says, "I'm a Baptist." He asked me, quote, like, am I allowed to pray the rosary? What would your response be to people who are not in the Catholic faith with the rosary? Would you tell them they should convert first, or how do you go about that?
I would say just start praying it. A lot of people have done that. There was a story on I don't know the name exactly, but there was a gentleman. He was a Jewish faith, and his friend was Catholic, and he gave him the Miraculous Medal, and he started wearing it before he converted. So it's a stepping stone to convert. It really is. You don't have to convert. There's a lot of Protestants, and there's what to pray the Rosary. You'd be shocked, And it's there. Sometimes I think people are held back because of family. Oh, you can't become Catholic. You don't want to do that. That's horrible. But see, if they start praying the Rosary, they start getting more and more into it, more and more into it. There was just a famous convert. I don't know if she did it with the Rosary, but Candace Owens, which is a political commentator, she ended up converting. You'd be surprised. Again, if you're gentle with people and say, "Yeah, go ahead. Here's one. Try it out," you'd be shocked because you can't force people to convert. This isn't we're going to lop your head off if people convert. We're just
Well,
trying to get
it's always simple things like that with people possibly convert. If you take the actor in The Passion of the Christ who played Barabbas, when Jim Caviezel looked at him then when he was about to walk down the stairs after he'd been freed, just that look of Jim Caviezel brought him on the path to conversion. So I mean, it's simple things. So yes, pray the rosary.
Definitely, it's a beautiful thing. That should be really relieving to a lot of my audience. But a question I wanted to ask you, because you did say Black Monk Rosaries has been a lot of trial and error, and you guys are getting your footing in. What would you say are some of the challenges you face in making rosaries that you guys have now corrected? Where you're like, okay, we had over to stumble, but now we got it.
Well, the latest problem we've had is demand. We're all about quality, not speed, and people have found us, and we don't compromise on the quality. So it's a good problem to have. We just have a lot of people ordering. We've also, Nick, you can explain that we've had to really computerize everything because of the inventory, because we're getting products from the Carolinas, from California, from the Dakotas, from France, from Italy. And you grow. When it's small, it's easy, but as it gets bigger, it gets very complicated. You can mention something on that, Nick.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, when we first started year 1 and 2, everything was pen and paper for figuring stuff out, logistics and everything. And past couple years, the amount of computer work we have both done to figure getting everything in, sourcing the highest quality product has been immense. It's I mean, I'm a millennial, so I'm more adept at computers than some people, but it still has been a learning curve for me, and I mean, it's been fun figuring it out, figuring how to get everything in, and that's it's been interesting, or even just simplifying the production process with our people. Even though it's Father's Day, I'll shout out Mom Lisa for a suggestion on these bags that made it way easier for all of our different production teams. It simplified their job. As David said in the beginning, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. That's how we like to run things. We like to streamline our efforts
Yeah,
to
it's
make the
also hard
best.
to find. We're not politically correct when we hire people. We want them. We would probably be stoned in this society for what we think, but it's hard to find people that are skilled enough to do it. We go through a rigorous training program with them, and they're paid, and we pay our people extremely well for what they do. That's what makes Black Monk Rosary run, is the people. And if you have good people and you have faith, it works out. It's we're not doing this to get rich. You don't get rich making rosaries, but it's the people and the relationships that we have, and we've got all our training down. It's just been one thing after another. And I was in the business world, so I had a lot of insight on this to help all them. I'm more of a guide for them than anything else. I'm the old guy that helps stay on track.
It's good to see
We
that you
also,
guys are hopping over hurdles pretty easy, and you're only with good problems, as they say, where people are wanting more. That's always good.
yeah, it's a really good problem to have. They kind of freak out around here sometimes, and I just say, stay calm, stay calm, and we're not compromising. Another thing we don't do too is we have dealers around the country that carry our products, and we have agreements with them that they cannot discount. Now, we never discount either. We don't have any sales, because if we do that, then people making the rosaries don't make as much, and they have to put food on the table too. So we do not do that. We just we have a quality product, and when you have a quality product, you don't have to give it away. And again, we don't want to take any money out of the people that work for us. Take them out of their hands.
Definitely. And I'm really appreciative of your guys' no compromise style in business, because you even mentioned earlier, if a lot of people knew or were aware of how Catholics actually operate in the day to day, we're considered or labeled like extremists, if you will. Where by modern society, the Catholic extremist is just a guy who attends the Mass every Sunday and prays the Rosary daily. So that really shows you, unfortunately, how far society has gone. But we're hoping to have a spring back and get more people in church. It's always the goal, get more people out there and learning more about important things like these, which is the faith.
Well, it's fun being counterculture. It's that we have a blast doing this. It's a, they say if you do something you love, you never work a day in your life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it is. We have a blast. We even took our Black Monk logo, which was designed by my oldest daughter. She's an artist, and then we beefed him up with the priest and put him muscles on him and everything else. And we laugh about it because people love it. People just love this stuff. And on our Facebook and Instagram and that, we try to educate people about the faith. We pull we talk about infant baptism and little quick quirky things like that. But it's fun to go counterculture. Be different. Don't go along with the crowd.
And it's funny you mention that too, because I have the privilege of having my great grandparents to be alive. And for people's knowledge, they got married in 58. And it's always funny talking with them because they explain to me how much they've seen things change in American history by a decade. And they told me that the 1960s and 70s, the counterculture was being, punk rock, it was being a hippie, it's being stoner, all those things like that. And now it's almost in reverse, where most of society is like this, and the counterculture is people who are religiously grounded and firm in their faith, where they're not bending to subjective morality of the modernity. And that's something I thought was very interesting hearing from them as well.
No, it's true. I was born in '62, so I've seen a lot of changes too throughout society. And you can see it now too, because our birth rate, we're below replacement level. And people, but the people that convert with the rosary or they convert another way, all of a sudden they find out life's important. And I've proven this to my kids as they grew up. I put on, I don't know if you're familiar, there's the movie Psycho with the Alfred Hitchcock murder. And they looked at it and they weren't even phased at the time. They were all teenagers at the time. But that's how far we have gone. The pendulum has gone, and it's fun to be, again. It's good to be counterculture, and as Catholics, we're in the Bible Belt too. So
Oh, same here. I'm speaking to you from right outside of Atlanta, Georgia, so we're in the deep of it as well.
You know what it's like. Sometimes they
Oh,
look
yeah.
at you like you're crazy. You
Yeah,
gotta.
sometimes I feel like I go around these more rural areas and there's signs out there as no papist allowed, and I'm like, oh, I'm not welcome here. That's what it feels like at times. But
Well, luckily, Nick and I are pretty big guys, so they don't hassle us on that. So,
For
um,
you.
No, I'm really thankful because something that I've been doing on the side is that myself and a lot of other young Catholic men, we are trying to form like a young Catholic group where we're reaching out to people who are in parishes that have like a smaller youth population, so like people around my age, which is like the mid-20s, and say like, hey, we have a community here for you young guys. You don't have to go to mass, and it's not anyone there around your age. So definitely having a revitalization of the faith and trying to make Georgia more Catholic, and that's really our goal. But speaking of, I'm going to be mentioning you guys a lot, so expect to be getting a lot more orders. So that's another good problem for you guys. But
another good problem. Yeah. Uh, yeah, all the vendors that we use, a lot of them are very small. So we start putting these giant orders in, and then they're big for us. I mean, we're not big like a big corporation, but yeah, it's a good problem to have. And you're right. There's a lot of people, young people, that feel like they're alone. There's not anybody else out there, but there is. There's a lot of people out there. You'd be shocked.
and what's amazing and what I love so much about Catholicism is that no matter how far you go down a broken road, it's never too late to turn back around. Christ is always there for you. The church is always there for you. People are there for you, and it's almost as a miracle. Some of these guys I've seen, especially coming to our church, when we show them like what is the rosary, we're talking to young men who are from no religious background, and they're steeped in like nihilism. They're steeped in all these like negative views of the world, like, oh, there's nothing that has meaning. I'm an anti-natalist. I don't believe in having people like kids, everything suffering, all this negativity just oozing out of them. And I told them,
Right.
like, hey, take a breather, and like you say, why don't you try praying the rosary fuss? And it's something that's small, starts there, and to them is very meditative, where they're able to like, let go of all that like grief and like burdens holding on. Because if we're going to be honest, all that's like a culture from the devil, the nihilism, the antinatalism. Like you said earlier, it's unfortunately affecting our society, and it's good to have people like you around. That's definitely doing a fight back to that.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I mean, Nick and I, we talk about that all the time, don't we, Nick?
Every day.
Oh
Every
yeah,
day we
Every day.
Yeah, we take a positive attitude and laugh and have a good time, because the worst thing you can do is be this somber, oh, woe is me, Catholic. Oh, no, you got to be upbeat. You got to be
We're
positive.
so back, right? That's the
yeah, we'll
attitude.
go back. Yeah, it definitely. Yeah, I'm trying to like stop blackpilling in any Catholic communities where I don't want to see that stuff. Where even times where I could get like a bit emotionally overwhelmed by seeing like how bad, like let's say Atlanta, Georgia, for example. I've been there a couple times because I've been invited to chess tournaments there. And when I go there, it'd be like Midtown. I felt like I'm walking into the horrid Babylon, if you will, where I'm just like, oh my gosh. I'm just like, that's a lot of rainbows. And
Yeah.
but it's one of those
That's
things
the
where even then, you just calm down, like pray a rosary real quick, before you get out there, knock it out and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. We've been in positions like that too, praying in front of abortion clinics. Um, we were. I didn't get in. I was late coming, but Trump was having a thing in Dallas back in 2016 campaign, and I was with all the.
counter protesters.
I was in there with them, and I just prayed, Hail Mary, and just walking around perfectly safe, perfectly
Oh,
safe
you were
there.
praying amongst the people who were protesting against Trump?
Yeah,
Oh, phew.
yeah.
So you put yourself right in the belly of the beast. I respect
Yeah, I
that.
was in it. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff. There was all kinds of weird things going on. No, it was like I was invisible to them. They just left me alone. It was really weird. It was. I, you find out too, like when you're in front of an abortion clinic and you're praying, the vile things that come out of these people's mouths, and they, bless you. You don't curse them. You don't yell at them. Doesn't do you any good.
You'll notice a common theme as well when you do what is holy, virtuous, and righteous, such as praying outside of abortion clinic or praying, during Pride, emphasis on that Pride Month events,
Right.
praying for people's souls, where you see this vindictive hatred they have not only towards you but to what you represent and stand for. And I know for people who are non-Catholic and even non-Christian, they're gonna be like, "Oh, Sola, you're being superstitious here." But I genuinely believe there's some demonic influence there, where you know, even I believe demons, know Christ as Lord, or even they know their place, basically, and that's why they despise it so much, and they try to pull you down with them. But definitely got to help as many people as we can.
You before we moved, we were in Dallas for a number of years, and then we moved out because Dallas was getting a little rough. But Nick can attest to this. We started the rosary business, and we have religious art around the home. Not extravagant, but Sacred Heart, Jesus, crucifixes in all the bedrooms, pictures of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. And when we started the rosary business, we had always felt a little bit of stuff, but after we started the rosary, you take it from here, Nick, on that about what happened in the old house.
There was definitely a dark energy in the house. I don't want to go too deep into that because it is terrifying. But no, there was something there, trying to stop us, trying to thwart our efforts of spreading the rosary. Um, that's too dark. I don't want to talk about that. I will say though, uh, with the insanity of culture in the cities. I was actually we had a professor at SMU, which is near downtown Dallas, and he wanted the rosary delivered to his PO box right next to campus. So I'm going off delivering the rosary and I'm stuck in traffic on 75. There is to the right of me a guy just smoking a blunt just right there, and you're like, what is going on here? The absolute insanity that's tolerated in cities. If David, if you want to talk about the stuff going on in the house, you're more than welcome, but that it freaks me out.
No, it was,
I mean,
and
I've read "Hostage to the Devil" by Malachi Martin, and that'll keep you up at night. The only thing that'll help you go to sleep is the
I couldn't
rosary.
finish
That
that. I couldn't finish that one. That made me too. I was just like,
no,
yeah.
yeah, that was, yeah, it's pretty scary. So no, I think I have a 6-year-old man. I have one son that's autistic, and he always said, "Dad, it's all the religious beliefs and the rosary and everything we have that protects us." So and it was a blessing in disguise. We moved once we moved. I wouldn't say in the house was haunted or whatever, but it got even better for us. Um, that's all I can say. The thing I never did too with my kids growing up is I never forced them to sleep. The only thing is when they were little, they were going to mass for sure. But I didn't force it on them. And it's amazing. My oldest is 34, and he gave me probably the biggest compliment I ever had. Is he said, "Dad, I'm so glad you raised this kid."
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Like that's one thing I wish, and I love my parents to death, but that's one thing I wish I would have gotten a lot earlier. But I feel like God has a journey for all of us. But really quick on that, guys, we're going to be hitting our 45 mark really soon, so we're going to be on a quick 5 minute break. In the meantime, enjoy the sponsor that we're coming through right now, and we'll see you in a moment. Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to Requiem Radio. Black Monk Rosaries. Black Monk Rosaries are truly something that stand the test of time. They honor the tradition of St. Dominic by using only the finest materials and craftsmanships. Black Monk Rosaries, bracelets, medals, chains, and keychains come with a lifetime warranty to it. If anything breaks, they'll replace it, no questions asked. Crafted from high-impact acrylic beads, corrosion-resistant stainless steels, and industrial-grade paracord, Black Monk Rosaries are built to be the strongest in the world. Each piece is handmade with attention to detail and inspected 3 times to ensure top quality. Experience the durability and elegance of Black Monk Rosaries, strong enough to be worn proudly in your faith. Visit Black Monk Rosaries today. And we're back from our break. Thank you guys for listening in. Hope you enjoyed that ad. And now we're going to be going over into a bit of a different section. We're going to be talking about mainly answering questions for some of our non-Catholic brothers in Christ, mainly Protestants, who want to know more about the rosaries, or some things are hesitant. It's okay. Here's our opportunity to help you guys out. So a question I got in was, particularly for the rosary, Are you permitted to wear it as a necklace or can you keep it in your pocket? What do you do for it? So that's for you guys. Is it allowed to wear it as like a necklace? Because that's mainly a Spanish culture thing, but I'm sure other people do it as well. Or where do you usually put the rosary? Is it on your hip or?
Um, well, I carry it in the pocket, but we get that question all the time from people. It really comes down to the reason why you're going to wear it. If it's just a piece of jewelry, then no. But if it's part of your faith and it brings you closer to God, then yes. Of course, you're religious; they wear them on their habits. But it all comes down to why are you doing this? Because we get asked all the time, and there's a lot of people of faith that like to wear them. So we don't tell them that you can't wear them. There's a group of people that say you shouldn't, but you just don't treat it like a piece of jewelry. Don't treat it
Definitely.
like
It's not like an accessory to wear, like, rings or something like that, you know?
yeah. And if you notice, most of the people that wear them, they keep them under their shirts anyways. But a lot of times
Mhm.
they do. It's a good. So yeah, you can wear them if you want. Yeah, that's not a problem.
Definitely. And when I was in the military, I was part of 82nd Airborne. And I remember anytime we had jumps, we'd be strapped in and all packed in. So I can't reach my pockets or anything. And things in my pockets usually got smushed really hard. I'd always, like you said, have it tucked in underneath my neck where it's like safe around my heart and stuff. But
Right.
another question I want to ask you guys, and this one is mainly a lot from our Southern Baptist friends, but they want to know where can you find the rosary in the Bible or something that's related to practice? Is it biblical? So, which one of you guys would like to take that?
Well, I have a quote here. I know the Southern Baptists won't be happy because it's from Pope Pius XII. But he said, "Let the rosary be held again in very high honor among you, for it is a synthesis of the whole gospel. Meditation on the mysteries of the Lord, an evening sacrifice, a garland of roses, a hymn of praise, a family prayer, a compendium of Christian life, a sure pledge of heavenly favors, a defense while we await our expected salvation. Under its guidance, may the virtue of old and the most faithful guardian of right living flourish again among you. May the hope of a better world dawn upon you." And that was from Pope Pius XII. I couldn't say it better than him. But
Definitely,
it
that's
is.
beautiful.
Go ahead and
You're
extrapolate some
gonna,
more on that, David.
yeah, you're going to find all the mysteries in the Bible. You're going to find the way of the cross. You're going to find the crucifixion. You're going to find the Annunciation. You're going to find the Visitation. You're going to find all these. It's so biblical. It's again, it's a Bible in beads. And they'll say, "Well, I don't see the word rosary in the Bible." Well, I don't see the word Trinity either. So you can't play that game. There's a lot of words that aren't present. Another word is not in the Bible is nice. There's a lot. There's a lot of things that aren't in the Bible that aren't that what we use. So you can't go there on that. You have to think of things with an open mind with people too, and you're going to get pushback. You can't be nasty about anything because the people immediately put the force field up, and they don't want to talk to you. But yeah, you can find all the mysteries in the Bible. It's all there. It's all there. The Hail Mary is actually biblical too. To present that information. It's actually on our Facebook. We did the Hail Marys a biblical. The Our Father obviously is biblical. And prayers like "Glory be the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, never shall be, world without end." Uh, I don't know. I think that the modern day evangelical religions have tried to take the Bible away from the Catholic Church and say we're not biblical. In actuality, the Rosary is the Bible, or the life of Christ, and even the Mass is so filled with biblical references. It's unbelievable.
Definitely, and something I'd always mention to people, especially for the Hail Mary, is Luke 142, where it's in a loud voice she proclaimed, "Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb." And that's something that's actually really interesting that I always try to point out to, surprises them. But I agree with the warning that just because certain words are in the Bible doesn't mean we can't infer from these things. So, an example, and unfortunately, I see this with a lot of like the very progressive Protestant Christians, where they would try to argue abortion is completely okay. You could be a good Christian and support abortion because, after all, the very specific word abortion is not in the Bible, is what they try to argue. which is honestly a very dangerous, slippery slope where it becomes my own personal interpretation where I can make it whatever I wanted to make. So I'm glad you guys answered that one. But another questions I have for you guys I'm curious about is a lot of people ask, why do we pray to Mary and the saints instead of directly to Jesus? They notice in the rosary, we pray a lot to Mary. We have the Hail Mary prayer. Why do we have to do that? Why not just go straight to Jesus? What would your guys'
Well,
thoughts on that be?
we believe and have faith in the God of the living. These people, even though they have passed on in life, they are still alive in Christ. And the Protestants think that we worship Mary. Mary doesn't have any power on her own. You don't understand that. She prays to Christ. She's the closest to Christ. But she's not a goddess. She's not God. The saints aren't gods or goddesses either. They are in heaven, and they are the church triumphant. You have the three churches. You have the church the triumphant, the church suffering, which is in purgatory, and you have the church militant down here on earth fighting the battle. We're trying to fight the good fight. But Mary is not a goddess, and that's the one thing they can't get through their head. It's something I proved to my kids and Nick statues. It Sacred Heart, and he knocked it over and it broke, and I didn't get
I was
mad.
a little kid. I was a little kid. Don't worry.
I said,
He was actually 27 years old when he did this. No, I'm kidding.
It was 3 years ago, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, and I didn't get mad. And they're like, "Why didn't you get mad?" And I said, "It's just a statue. You don't understand. That's not Jesus." But yeah, that's where they get hung up on. They don't understand because if you're in Catholicism, you have dulia and hyperdulia, which means hyperdulia is only given to God. That's worship. Dulia is honor, and that's where they get mistaken is with Mary.
Another thing.
Latria for God.
Thank you. And another thing.
Thank you for correcting me.
Another thing I'd like to mention is a distinction here between veneration and worship. Would you guys be kindly enough to explain what is the difference of venerating and worshiping?
Well, worship is only to God. That's that simple. Veneration is with saints. You're asking for intercessions. That's how I keep it as simple as I could. The worship is only directed toward the Blessed Trinity. You can't worship a saint. You can't worship anything like that. Veneration of the saints. Again, you're asking for intercessional prayers. That is it.
And for them to be an example and inspiration for you.
Definitely. And for people who don't know that word intercession, what does that mean? I know it may sound simple to us, but remind you, a lot of our viewers, and mainly a lot of people in general who aren't Catholic, don't really know about these terms, and it's foreign to them. So what is intercession?
All we're doing is asking them the saints to pray for us. They're in heaven, and they're the beatific vision, seeing God in the face, and we're just asking for them to pray for us. There's another thing too that people get all bent out of shape on. They don't understand is the word with indulgences. Indulgences don't forgive sin. It just forgives temporal punishment. So if you're in purgatory, it lessens your time in purgatory. But there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of misconfusion. There's a lot of myths that have gone on, and people have perpetuated it throughout the years. And they say, "Oh, well, you're doing this, and oh, you're doing that." No, we're not really.
I blame Hollywood for a lot of that too. They've done a pretty heavy number on misconceptions of the Catholic faith.
They have. Go ahead, Nick.
No, I mean you covered it. It'd be similar then to like the Black Legend with the Spanish, how they treated the indigenous people horrible. It's these myths and lies have been perpetrated. It's about who controls the information flow on that.
Definitely. And a quick question from my audience. Let's play a little bit of an example here, but let's take Nick. Nick, if I ask you kindly, I say, my grandmother is sick, may you pray for her. What
Most
did I just
definitely.
do? What did I just do right there in that scenario? Did I worship you? Did I bow before you? Did I pray at you? No, I asked you
not at all.
kindly, may you please pray for my sick grandmother. And that's a thing where I feel like some words that are foreign to people scare them. But which I love what David has been doing, like breaking it down very simplistically, being like, hey, it's not this big and foreign or scary. This is actually a pretty simple concept in a way. But thank you for that. And I want to know one more thing for you guys, where a lot of people can be skeptical of what they call, man made traditions. And like we already stated, it's not man made, it's in the Bible. We demonstrated where it's at. But they are curious. The rosary did come out hundreds of years after Christ. Do you guys, how would you respond to that if a Protestant asks you, like, wait, like Catholics weren't praying the rosary since the very beginning? This is a newer thing in a church. Would you even call it newer, or how would you respond to this?
Well, the Bible that we know it didn't exist until 300 years after Christ's resurrection. So there's a lot of things they didn't have it. Like 300 years after Christ's resurrection, they didn't have a formal Bible. They had the scriptures in different places, and the church had to come and put it together. So a lot of things didn't exist. And Mary interceded with Saint Dominic to give the rosary because we had a heresy, the Albigensian heresy, to overcome that. So we can get messages from heaven. And just because something didn't start from the very beginning doesn't mean it can't be used. It's just that's a house of straw. It just doesn't play. It doesn't play. And we
Definitely.
have to look too. I'm going to mention our Orthodox brothers. They hold the veneration of the Blessed Virgin very high too. It's not they use the word Theotokos, Mother of God. All the titles that Mary carries, Queen of the Rosary, Theotokos, Mother of God, all were done to amplify Jesus Christ's divinity. He is the Son of God. That's what they're designed for. They're not to exalt Mary; they're to exalt Christ.
And that you actually nailed it on the head. That's going to be my follow up question for you guys. So I have people ask me, why do Catholics say titles given to Mary, such as Queen of Heaven or Mother of God? Why is there so much importance on Mary here? And a lot of them, I feel like, do come from a good place because they're very, I believe, devoutly religious. They're just misinformed on the faith. So, like you said earlier, our brothers of the East, they say Most Holy Theotokos. And I know we also have our own titles for her, but would you be able to elaborate on that? Like, when you say Mother of God, is she Mother of the Father? What does that mean? Like, I thought she's just a Mother of Jesus.
Yeah, well, again, those titles were designed when there was some kind of you had Gnosticism and different ones that would deny
Historianism. Yep.
deny the divinity of Christ. So all it's doing is again, it's all pointing to Christ. Uh, he contributed his human part, but not the divine. He's 100% divine, 100% human, which we mortals cannot understand. But that's what all the titles are for. And then different apparitions, Our Lady of Fatima in Portugal, Our Lady of Lourdes, France. And that's something too that people don't understand is let's take Our Lady of Guadalupe. Guadalupe. It was a private revelation to Saint Juan Diego. Now, as a Catholic, I can believe that, or I don't have to because it's a private revelation. I do personally believe it, but that's what people don't understand. And Our Lady of Guadalupe, Our Lady of Lourdes, Our Lady of Fatima, Our Lady Queen of Heaven, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, it's all the same person. It's just different titles. That's what people don't understand. It's not they're not different Marys. They're all the same. And she appears to these people in their time and their space and their culture. Our Lady of Guadalupe appeared with darker skin to appeal to the people of Mexico at the time. God's amazing what they can do or what he can do. And he sends his Blessed Mother as a messenger, just like he sends angels. If you say he can't do it, then he's not God.
Definitely. And that's something when you're mentioning apparitions for makes me happy because of my Cuban background. But we had an apparition of Mary ourselves where it's Our Lady of Charity of El Cobre. And what I like about that is that it's very deep tied to our people. When you had the story goes, it's a small boy in their boat and a storm suddenly arose. And it's him and his friends, and they prayed fervently for deliverance. And miraculously, the storm subsided and they saw the object floating towards them on the water. And as they came closer, they realized it was our Blessed Virgin Mary holding Christ, the child, in her arms. And I find it to be a very beautiful and symbolic story of they're always there for you, like protecting you. But
well, they are, and we go back to the luminous mystery of the wedding of Cana, where she asked her son, would you get more wine? And then they usually, he did it. He did what she asked. That's showing you that he listens to his mom. um, we all have one, and Mama gets. It's like today is Father's Day, and I had a friend that said Father's Day. All dads, we get ties when we have to cook barbecue or steaks or something. Mothers get elevated far higher than fathers. It's just the way it is. And Joseph was humble enough to step back and let her take the limelight and take the lead. And don't ever underestimate a saint or or the Blessed Virgin.
Definitely. And last question on this topic, but has there been any other mischaracterizations or questions from our Protestant brethren asked about the Rosary to you that I have not brought up yet that you'd like the audience to know about? Like any common misconceptions they may hold where you're like, actually, let me clarify this about the Rosary?
No, not really. They get the vain repetition, and then you explain that to them. They ask about the mysteries of it. You point that out to them. They get all bent up out of shape because there's a crucifix on
As the corpus.
rosary. So yeah, with the corpus on it, and they're like, "Well, Christ isn't on the cross anymore." Like, yeah, we know that, but this is representing what He did for us. They get tied up, but then I said, "But then your churches, you have stained glass windows, and you have this and that," and I said, when they did the the Ark of the Covenant, God had angels on top of that. When Moses was going through the desert and they were getting bit by snakes, they had a bronze casting a bronze serpent. If you looked at it, you were cured. So they try to get onto the idolatry aspect, the superstitious aspect of it. Sometimes you can't convince people, and then no words can, no matter what you say, can't do it. I find the best thing to do is give them literature, send them an email, give them a rosary, and handle it that way. You can't argue somebody into believing something. It just doesn't work.
Exactly. 100% agree with you guys. And you were mentioning literature, and I'm curious to both of you. Do you either of you have any book recommendations for not only Protestants but Catholics in general who wanted to learn more about the Rosary or something to help in their spiritual journey? Recommendations that help you guys personally, even.
A book that really influenced me was The Seven Story Mountains by Thomas Merton. It's a really good book. It's about his travel or his experience becoming Catholic. The Seven Story Mountains by Thomas Merton. That was a really influential book for me in reading it.
Okay, sounds good. And what about for you, Nick?
I'd say a really good book just on resisting temptation is The Devil and How to Resist Him. It goes over Jesus's 40 days in the desert and how Satan tempted him and how to overcome it like Christ as best you can as a human. That would be
All
my
right.
book recommendation.
Sounds good. And I know I do have a lot of younger listeners as well who may not have access to go to a Catholic church, so they tell me they tune in to a lot of Catholic channels. But besides the obvious, like Matt Fradd, Pints of Aquinas, is there any Catholic podcast or channels at all that you'd recommend for people to check out or listen to in their free time?
Well, we have a local. I really went blank, Nick.
Who are you thinking of?
The local. We have the gentleman. I just went. My mind went blank.
Marshall, are you talking about him? Because
About
he
who?
lives close. Are you talking about Dr. Taylor Marshall?
Taylor Marshall. That's right. Oh yeah, yeah. Taylor Marshall. Yeah, he's a great one to listen to. We listen to Life Site by John Henry Weston. Yeah, he gives a lot. He's more like pro-life, but he does a lot of great pieces on religion. While we're working, we have either a Gregorian chant on, or we're listening to one of
Yeah,
them.
we do have Divine Adoration on on YouTube while working. If you're on X, follow Solo Requiem.
Oh,
He gives a lot of good information. A couple of other really good accounts on there. Who is it? Brian Burgess, his is really good. Lex, I can't remember the full name, but look at the people that Solo Requiem follows. They're all pretty good.
thank you guys.
That whole Catholic Twitter circle I mean, lots of good information from everyone there. There's
Yeah,
who is it? Will Anselm. His is pretty good. If you're on there, check those guys out.
That means a
yeah,
lot. You're making me blush over here. Thank you guys.
yeah, yeah. It's coming from an older perspective. The young, you can learn a lot from young people, and um, you just do. Where I handle more of the older people, but yeah, the young people, they take a fresh look at things that us old guys don't look at. We get a little bit stuck in our ways sometimes. So it's interesting. He comes and tells me stuff where we're working, and you know, we're kind of far apart where we're working at, but uh, no, it's I get a kick out of the guys on X, and that it's just unbelievable what you guys can do.
Yeah, you could definitely get a good crowd in, and it's funny because I'm in group chats where it's just people who are very serious about like apologetics or faith, and it's us just shooting book recommendations at other lectures and priests, all the stuff down the line, and it's really enjoyable and fun. But
You got to have fun
something,
with it. You got to have fun with it.
oh yeah, like you said earlier, if you enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't feel like you're working at all. You're just like going through it. Like that's similar to why I do podcasts. I very much enjoy having guests from all walks of life on and hearing their stories about different things. Even if we have more of a Catholic leaning, it's always good to hear from everyone. I always enjoy that.
Oh yeah, yeah. We get contacted by Protestants, like I said all the time. We have Protestants buy our rosary. You would be shocked. You would be shocked. Some of them, I think, they do it like a secret. They don't want anybody to know. I mean, it
And
really.
out of curiosity, would that be like high church Protestants, like Lutherans, Anglicans, those type of people? Or if you
Yeah.
don't have to reveal customer information, I understand as well, but I was curious.
Some evangelicals, we won't mention their names, but we get contacted by high Anglicans all the time wanting us to make Anglican rosaries, and we just make Catholic rosaries. We don't stray from the recipe on that. This is what we make. This is our clientele. Uh, we'll do custom work for people, but it has to be approved by the production team, and sometimes we say no, sometimes we say yes on it. It depends on what they want to have made.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. And I know we mentioned earlier how we're talking about interfaith relationships of dealing with people who are from different walks with Christ.
Mhm.
Have you guys ever met anyone out of curiosity that you personally helped bring back to the church or inspired them to look more deeper into it? More of an anecdotal thing I'm curious about.
Yeah, I have one that's really yeah. A guy I knew, and his faith and his family was Catholic, and then he was part of the Young Sarens. It was a group that uh, fostered vocations to the priesthood, and I knew David for quite some time, and he was talking to me, and I said, you need to. I don't know how it came up, but I said, do you know what the Immaculate Conception is? And he said, no, it's the conception of Christ. I said, no, it's not. It was the conception of the Blessed Virgin without the stain of original sin. Well, that prompted him to end up going getting a doctorate in the Catholic study of theology, and he works in the Catholic realm now. So just one little question that, because you ask most people what the Immaculate Conception is, and they're all, because of Hollywood, they're all going to tell you it's the conception of Christ. And I changed the guy's life with one question. He came back, really stronger than faith, got stronger than me. I mean, I was just impressed with what he does.
Definitely. And what about for you, Nick?
None are really coming to mind helping someone convert because I was raised Catholic and went to Catholic school, so I've been in that world like my whole life. Haven't helped anyone come to the faith. I did. I mean, I have a whole group of friends that are Latin Mass people, and they've helped me. Honestly, they've steered me in right directions. I've helped them, but no one specifically I can recall that I've steered specifically this way.
Definitely. And a bit of a personal story for I always have the belief you reach different people in different way. If that makes sense, it's not a one size fits all. If that makes sense for you guys for
Mm.
bringing people to faith. And I remember it's really funny, but one of my close friends who lives in Serbia. Really, really big dude, very stoic. He was a neo-pagan, and over time, it went from him almost being like scoffing to like Christianity. And then he heard me go on my long rambles about how much I love the saints. And I was talking about St. Christopher one day. And for people who don't know, St. Christopher, he was a very large man. He was a warrior who sought to be with the greatest king he could find. And the first king he served was rumored to be, demonic, a devil. And once he was ransacking a church, a priest held up the crucifix in front of him and made all the power to sap out of him. And instead of being afraid, he was curious. He was like, "What is that?" And then he was like, "This is crucifix." Like, "But who is that man?" And he's like, "That's Christ." And over time, St. Christopher learned more and devoted himself to it until on his day of him becoming Christian, he announced Christ truly is the strongest of all kings. And it's really funny because he asked me to send him more in that story later. And 2 months later, he sends me a picture of him in Mass saying those exact same words to me, where he says, Christ truly is the strongest of all kings. And that's a guy who was very big into like Valhalla, Odin, all that stuff. And it's interesting because it's one of those things you don't even expect or you don't even think about. It just comes natural. And to me, that's a very beautiful story of me helping someone come back to the church.
Yeah, that is. Yeah,
But,
St. Christopher. Don't
yeah, go ahead.
knock it. That's another thing too with other Catholics. They'll say, "Well, he's not on the calendar anymore. He's not a saint." I said, "You can't decanonize a saint. It doesn't work that way. Just because you're not on the main calendar doesn't mean you're not a saint."
Definitely. I'm glad. Yeah, I know. I was about to say, the moment I said St. Christopher, I thought to myself, "Oh, I'm going to get some of those Catholic Puritans to get on me about this." But
No, yeah, you can't decanonize a saint. It doesn't work that way. Just because you're not on the calendar doesn't mean you're not.
definitely. And I was actually going to ask you guys both that questions because we did touch on the saints earlier when talking about the rosaries. But would you guys be comfortable enough to share what is a patron saint and what is your guys' patron saints and for what reason?
Well, I know why Nick is. Nick is.
What?
Are you St. Christopher?
Yeah, I'll tell the story about Saint Christopher with me. I actually did a post about it recently. So, back in college, there was a class. It was on Italian Renaissance, basically, and it talked about the Golden Legend. And the professor, and in our reading, said the Golden Legend was Saint Christopher. It was made up, yada yada yada. So I might have been a little atheist at that point, and I would give David hell. I'd be like, "Oh, Saint Christopher, he's made up, yada yada yada." So I was wearing a Saint Joseph medal that we feature on our website, but I was lifting Atlas stones with one of my friends, and the Saint Joseph became scuffed up, and I didn't want to wear it. I had an old four-way medal, which includes Saint Christopher on it. 2 weeks after Saint Christopher, I had the four-way medal on Saint Christopher. It was raining really hard, and I was going to the gym, driving too fast. My car hydroplaned and 360'd on a two-lane road in the woods. Luckily, I didn't get hit by anyone. No one died. I didn't fall into the ditch. So, yeah, Saint Christopher is my boy. He's patron saint of travelers. He protected me while driving. It's patron saint's your special connection with the church triumphant. He ask him to pray for you or her, whoever it is. David, go ahead.
Mine's St. Anthony. Just put it this way, he's a friend up there helping me out. Just recently, and I pray the novena to St. Anthony for help and aid. My my youngest son got his car stolen, and I prayed, uh, and I pray for them all, everybody every day. But normally when your car gets stolen, you don't get it back. Long story short, he ended up getting found and got it back. I have some other things that he did for me, and with prayers that Christ answered for me. So, well, he's a miracle worker too. But I look at it, I guess you need a friend upstairs, and yeah, so he's my patron saint. And we moved way out outside Dallas, and we ended up going to St. Anthony's Catholic Church in Wiley, Texas, which is a city just a hop, skip, and a jump from us that we go to. So
It's a good
I don't know.
parish too. It's nice seeing it. More women are veiled out here. Masses run really well. It's I like St. Anthony's.
Yeah, we have a couple of those TLM masses and parishes in Georgia, and I really love them a lot. And it definitely feels better to see people actually like dress proper to those. And wish more of these churches could be like that, but hey, it's what we're trying to do. Write letters to your bishops, write letters to your archdiocese, trying to get that encouraged.
Yeah, the people, unfortunately, you've seen a dress go down further and further and further. You don't have to dress up in a coat and tie necessarily, but let's just look respectful, not like we're going to go to the beach, you know.
Yeah, you
um,
shouldn't be wearing shorts and a t-shirt to mass. That's a I
yeah, how much effort does it take to put on a pair of slacks and just like a polo shirt? You know, it doesn't take very much effort.
I remember when I was visiting my grandparents, and these were in South Carolina, my father's side, and I looked up, local parish, Catholic parish near to me, and when I went in there, it was a very lax, to put it politely, parish, and I remember seeing someone there my age, like around 23, 24. He was wearing a Def Leppard concert shirt, and on the entire back of it was just a skull of Baphomet. And I'm like, you're wearing that at mass. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, look, I like heavy metal just like the next guy, I'm very much into believing, the Catholic Church is very metal in some things if you think about it. Like you mentioned earlier, the skull rosaries.
Right,
And
right.
that's ours, but when it comes to that, I'm like, have a little bit more reverence and respect. Like, don't wear a shirt that is like of a band that literally has Baphomet on the back of it. Like, just don't, please.
Well, if you were going to go for a job interview, would you dress that way? No, no, you wouldn't dress that. You wouldn't dress that way. If you were going to court, you wouldn't dress that way. If you were going to for a nice meal, let's say you were dating a girl and you're going to go meet her parents for the first time, you
Mhm.
wouldn't dress that way. You're going out to dinner or to a restaurant. You have to put it in terms that people can understand. You have to take the story and twist it a little bit so you can make them understand. Again, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Um, that's what you have to do with people, and don't be mean to them, and that. But you can show by your example dressing nice. I've even experienced that in my former life in business. You know, if you dress, the coats and ties were kind of passe now, but I always would have fresh slacks, nice shirt, haircut. It's amazing how people judge you the way you look, but you're going before the creator of the universe, Lord Jesus Christ. I don't think you're going to be meeting him with a Teflon
Yeah,
t-shirt.
it has definitely, especially for me. I remember when I was younger, I was pretty heavy in the black metal scene. I did have a lot of shirts like that. And once I was going back to my reversion to the church, I threw out most of my wardrobe. I'm like, yeah, I'm not wearing this stuff anymore. But definitely, as you said. But
Yeah. When we're young, we're invincible. We're not going to die. Remember?
oh yeah, that's
Um,
unfortunately I believed a lot of for a while. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna ask you guys a quick question, but what are some advice you two would give for younger men who are in the faith and looking to be, as you put it, better men? Like, how would you tell them to go about it? You said, like dress better, try to like look more presentable. Is there any other advice you give on that?
Yeah, you don't want to you don't want to look like, when you get a certain age, you don't want to dress like a teenager. So, you know, dress presentable. Uh, from a spiritual standpoint, go to confession at least once a month. Don't miss mass. Even if you don't feel like doing it, pray the rosary. It takes 15 minutes. Look at all the distractions in your life. You have 500 channels on TV, all this other stuff, and people use these excuses. Oh, I don't have enough time to do this. I don't have it. You're telling me that how much time do you spend on your phone? Because you can look on your phone and see how many hours you've been on the thing, and you can't take that. Another thing I would say, and Nick will back up on that, go to the gym, start working
Yeah.
out. With this Nick hit me with a thunderbolt because I didn't really realize that. He said that the Europeans call us American burgers because we're all so fat. I was shocked. And I was like, yeah. But I would recommend going to the gym, get your priorities straight, and dress like you mean it. I'm not saying you have to all the time, but it's really simple. It's a three-legged stool. Your parents have respect for yourself, have respect for your religion, practice it, and get yourself in physical shape. Those are if you do those three things, everything will work. You take one of those out of the stool, and it collects.
And I'm glad you mentioned that too, because you definitely see, especially, I don't know if this is more social media or in real life, but younger guys complaining, saying, "Oh, I can't find a wife. Woe is me. Oh, I can't find a wife." And you look at them and they're morbidly obese. They're not taking care of themselves at all. They're in their basement all day long online. And I'm just saying, like, hey, you should, if you want a presentable wife, don't expect her to want an unpresentable man. She's going to want something in return, like look better, be presentable. Like, you can't expect, your trad wife, if you will, your traditional Catholic girl, just fall in your lap like out of the sky. You actually got to like put effort into it,
Yeah, you do. Yeah, they're not going to be attracted to that. Being a slob, and you can make yourself better. It's very easy. You start off slow, and just I don't know. That's why I said the three-legged stool. If you do that, it works. And people don't believe you, but people do judge you the way you dress. I'm not saying you have to wear expensive clothes. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying nice and neat clothes. They respect if you're going to mass. Women are attracted to that. Women are attracted to a man too that's going to go into the gym and start losing weight, and it takes a part to get in shape. You expect her to be cute. Well, what do you think they expect? You know,
Exactly.
it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street.
What about you, Nick? You got any comments on that? Some advice to
Uh,
help out?
Advice for the boys, I would say read the book of Job. Life's not fair, and bad things are going to happen, but you have to persevere and have faith in God. It's like the former Notre Dame coach Lou Holtz said, there's going to be a point when you lose your job, your wife dies, something bad happens, but you will have your faith. Always persevere and stay at it. That would be my advice. It's
All right.
not over. It's not over. We're so back.
We're so back. Let's go. And we're getting close to wrapping up near the end of the episode, so I want to ask a few more questions and then we'll be on the road. But first one is more in regards to Black Monk Rosaries. Do you guys have any special plans in the future coming up? Either expansion or you guys are working on a little something special? Or where are you guys at currently? Like, what are you trying to do?
All of our new stuff we got in the works. We work on that in July because July is usually a slow month, and then we release them usually in late August. We have a lot of neat new stuff coming. I'm not privy to say that, but
They're
we
going to be
always bring
cool.
out. They're going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
cool.
They're going to be cool.
Yeah, we're really going to bring out some new stuff. Kind of rock the market a little bit in the paracord rosary business. We keep stuff close to our vest before we can release it because we have to do prototypes and we have to do the photography and figure out the pricing. So it's not. It has to be run professionally. That's another thing about our website. We did black instead of white background. They told us that no one would buy from us if we did that, and it was the complete opposite. But yeah, we got a lot of neat stuff coming, but we keep it under wraps. Um, some of and a lot of the stuff comes from our customers. They tell us, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do this? I'm like, yeah, we'll do it. And sometimes we say no, but yeah, we're not going to tell you everything new we're doing.
Sounds good. Keep it on wraps. I like that. And something, my apologies, this is on my fault. I forgot to ask earlier, but do you guys only sell rosaries or do you also sell other things as well?
I'll say that again.
I forgot to mention this earlier at the beginning. Yeah, but do you guys only sell rosaries or do you also sell other items?
Religious metals. We're getting big into religious metals.
Okay.
That's going to be expanded even more, and we get all of our metals from France. We have manufactured over there. They're very small, but we're bringing more and more of their product in. We like doing business with them. It's unique, and that's what we're looking for. We're not going to be the. I mean, you can look at some things on the web. It doesn't matter if it's a Catholic picture or a medal or whatever. You see the same thing over and over and over on every site, and we're not that way. We use different configurations on the beads. We have different looking metals. So yeah, we're going to be expanding our metal line quite extensively over the next 6 months.
Beautiful. It sounds amazing. And really quick, can you tell the people listening in right now where can they find you guys at? Whether it be social media, websites, where can they contact you or get more information in case they want to buy?
Take that, Nick.
So you can. Our main place is our website
Are you there, Nick?
www. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So our main place would be our website www.blackmonkrosaries.com. We are also on Facebook. I don't know off the top of my head that name. On Instagram, you type in Black Monk Rosaries LLC, you'll find us. And then on X, we are at Monk Rosaries. We're pretty active all three places. You can find us on Google. You just Google Black Monk Rosaries, we'll show up.
Yeah, there's a lot of we have dealers too throughout the country. I
Mhm.
can't name them all because I don't want to give everybody preferential treatment, but we have a lot of dealers that carry our product. When you type in Black Monk Rosaries, you'll see their advertisement for us, and you're not going to find anything lower. It's all the same price, and they carry it because we maintain the price on it. We have dealers. What else do we do? That's about it. You can call us and ask us any question you want. The website's very easy to use. When we designed it for somebody that was older because Nick would say, well, you just know how to do that. And I said, well, but if you're 75 or 78 years old, you might not know how to do this. So we followed the philosophy, yes, keep it simple, stupid. And you'll find pouches too. We sell rosary pouches, which are handmade here in the States. They're stitched to our configurations. We have people that just buy our pouches. I mean, we get orders for pouches all day long because they find them and the quality is there. We do keychains, we do the metals, we do chaplets, we do single deck of rosaries, and we do, of course, our rosaries. And we don't really, we might be getting some other things too in the future, but good to stay focused on what you're doing instead of trying to be everything to everybody.
All right, sounds good. And one more question on that for in case anyone's wondering, but are you guys currently hiring at the moment? Are you having any positions available? Because I know you guys said you are booming and growing.
Yeah, we're looking for more rosary makers in our area. We're going to hire at least one or two more, and we hire them always in the summer. And the reason why we do that is because the training program goes uh, pretty long. Yeah, we want to get them up running in speed in July and August because once September comes, it already starts the Christmas season online. People start buying, and they have to be ready. But and we're very easy to work with. Our philosophy too is um, people make pencils have erasers because people make mistakes, and if you're not making a mistake, you're not working. We don't yell at people for making mistakes because we do it all the time. We're very easy to work for. We understand it, and we also understand personal situations with people. Um, they when you say anything on that, Nick, I mean, really, we're looking for more. It's just hard
Yeah,
to
no,
find people.
it's hard finding reliable people, but when they do work for us, when they have the rosaries, we do not micromanage them in any way. It's a very relaxed work environment for everyone, and we just they're good workers once they're trained.
All
Yep.
right, sounds good. And my last question for you guys, and one more time, thank you guys both so much for being on Requiem Radio. It is truly an honor, and I'm glad I was able to get you guys on.
Thank you for having
But
us.
Yeah, thank you for
it's
having
been
us.
amazing. Thank you. A question I wanted to ask you guys: is there any closing comments or remarks you would like to make about anything or anything? Whether it be the rosary, whether it be about Black Monk Rosaries, anything you guys want to closing thoughts on?
Mm, no, not really. Just thank you for having us. We really do appreciate it. Um, and we want to thank all of our customers. We want to thank everybody that emails us or asks us questions. Just thank you. We're very humbled by what the graces have been bestowed upon us with Black Monk Rosaries, and we do have a good time. The only thing is on Friday between 12 and 2, we're closed because we're going to eat fish.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, God bless you guys both. And for our listeners tuning in right now, this has been another episode of Requiem Radio, Season 4. I'll see you guys all next time. Have a good one.
Bye bye.